Logan had always trusted Max, his loyal golden retriever, for 10 years. Max had protected him, barked at strangers, and slept by his door. But one night, Max started acting different. It was 2:41 a.m. when Logan awoke to a low growl. Max stood in the hallway, tail stiff, eyes fixed on the wall near the living room. Logan rubbed his eyes. "What's wrong, buddy?" Max did not move, just kept staring, growing teeth barely exposed. There was nothing there, just a blank wall and an old family photo. But Max would not stop. Finally, Logan picked him up and brought him into the bedroom. He closed the door. At 3:07 a.m., Max leaped off the bed and ran to the door, barking violently. Logan followed him and opened the door. Max ran straight to the living room and froze. Logan followed and felt a cold breeze pass through his chest. Then the lights flickered. Max let out a high-pitched whine and crawled backwards. His eyes followed something moving along the wall. Then Logan saw it too. A shadow shaped like a human, but with no face, slowly peeling itself from the wall. Its body seemed to twitch with static, like an old team. Max dare. Max barked once, and the figure turned its head toward Logan. A whisper filled the room. He sees, he sees me now. You do too. Logan blacked out. He woke up in the daylight, alone. Max was hiding under the bed, trembling. The photo on the living room wall. It now had three people in it: Logan, his mom, and a third figure with the no face, standing in the shadows behind them. It was supposed to be a peaceful weekend in the woods. Adam and his girlfriend, Chloe, had rented a secluded cabin deep in Oregon's national forest. No Wi-Fi, no cell signal, just nature. On the first night, around 2:30 a.m., Adam was awakened by a thud against the cabin wall. Thinking it was an animal, he ignored it. Then came a whisper, "I see you." Blue was still asleep. Adam grabbed a flashlight and went outside. The forest was quiet, too quiet. But then he noticed something bizarre. Scratch marks high up on the trees, not near the ground, 15 feet above. The next morning, Blue said she did dreamed of someone tapping on the window and breathing heavily. When Adam checked the window, foot, there were fingerprints on the outside. The cabin was 12 feet off the ground. That night, they barricaded the doors, but again, at exactly 2:13 a.m., the sound came. A tap, tap, tap on the window. But when Adam looked, no one was there. Suddenly, a loud crashing came from the roof, then silence. They held their breath. Then, from the fireplace, a hand slowly reached out, thin, pale, and soaked in backsap. Chloe screamed. Adam grabbed the fire poker and swung, but the hand vanished into smoke. They did not wait till morning. They ran. When the ranger found the cabin the next day, the walls were carved with the same word over and over. "I live in the trees. I walk at 2:13. No one has rented that cabin since."
Last summer, I went on a solo hiking trip in northern Washington. I had planned a quiet weekend, camping deep in the forest. No phone signal, no people, just me and nature. By the second night, everything changed. Around midnight, I heard a soft tap, tap, tap on my tent. I thought it was branches. I ignored it, but then it came again. Slower. Tap, tap. Like fingernails on the fabric. I unzipped the tent, flashlight in hand, nothing. Just trees swaying, silence. I zipped it back up, tried to sleep. That's when I heard breathing. Right next to me, but outside the tent. Low, raspy, slow. I heard my death. Then I heard a voice. It whispered. You made it further than the other. I froze. No one knew I was here. I grabbed my knife, kicked the tent open. But again, no one. Only this time, there were bare footprints around my tent. Dozens, circling like someone had been pacing for hours. I did not sleep. I just sat there gripping the knife till daylight. When I finally packed up and started to leave in, I saw it carved into a tree next to my campsite was a single message. We like to watch you sleep.